Hello, big, big world. So I'm reading this book called The Power of Now. And it's kind of a book that I just kind of like to read on an ongoing basis. It's something that I've actually been reading it, on and off the entire time that I've been keeping this video blog. And if any of you are familiar with it, you may hear some things that I've referenced in these video posts that I've made. So today the thing that I'm reading about and just kind of chewing on in the back of my head and want to share is this tendency that we have to label things as good and bad. And it says, there have been many people for whom limitation, loss, failure, illness, or pain in whatever form turned out to be their greatest teacher. I would say I fit into that category very much. I think that the spiritual life and that I have been living prior to my diagnosis back 7 months ago, definitely, or 6 months ago, I think it definitely had an influence on my ability to practice acceptance and live one day at a time through this cancer battle that I've been going through. But really, I think that I think it's something that I've always strived to do, to pause when I have the compulsion to label something as good or bad. I remember I lost my job at Safeway back a million years ago, and I don't know that I would have quit working there on my own, but actually they fired me and then they hired me back 3 weeks later. But in that 3 weeks, I made arrangements to move to another city, which I had always wanted to live in, and so the initial reaction of, oh, this is bad, I got fired, as I look back on it now, that was something that made a space for me to go and have this other adventure. And so that's another thing that I was reading in this book today, that it's not good or bad. It's not, oh, I thought initially that it was bad, but then it was good. It's not, the idea is that it is neither good nor bad, that the only hope that I have is to create a space for it to exist and accept it. And so the other concept that was in this same couple pages that I read today is the difference between happiness and peace. That peace is creating a space for whatever there is, whereas happiness is inherently on that there's something good going on here. And so I know if that's I know it's kind of might be a new agey type concept, but it's something that it really, really has had an influence on my experience that I have shared in these, day-to-day posts that I've been making, that it has been brought to my attention, that I've had grace as I've gone through this, and thank you for those of you that have told me that. And I do feel peaceful on a day-to-day basis, and I can just share with you in my own experience that wasn't the case a year ago. It was not the case a year ago, but today I feel peaceful, and that kind of tends to be my default, that I come from a place of peace. And when I notice something that disrupts that peace, whenever there's something I'm resistant to, something I'm trying not to accept or trying to change, that really it's a matter of going back to creating space for whatever it is to be happening. I think back to whenever I found out I was going to have radiation, and as I moved to the acceptance, it was a space for this to happen. I was actually looking back at that video that I posted. I recently looked back at the video I posted a couple months ago. And just moving towards acceptance was creating a space for, okay, this is happening. No good or bad about it, but it's happening. And, you know, I will take it one day at a time. I will rise to the occasion, and it just is. It just is what is. So